Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the month of May, and we do have a lot of events that I'm going to be talking about for this month. So hang on, this will be an extremely eventful month with many turning points, because this month we have 3 planets turning retrograde all around the same time. First of all, Saturn's going to go retrograde on May 11th. Then we're going to have Venus go retrograde on May 13th. And Jupiter will go retrograde on May 14th. All of these planets turning retrograde are going to have a major effect on what? The economy. Yes, there's going to feel like a big depression coming about this month. Why? Because retrograde planets put things in reverse. So here we are trying to open up, trying to get businesses going from some vantage point, but there's going to be this huge domino effect of all of these closed businesses. Each one will affect one another. And this is the month we're going to feel the hurt the most, because retrograde planets have you take a step backwards and look back to revisit, reanalyze, review, and remake everything. Everything's falling apart. Is it a time when we can go forward and open up borders and open up businesses? No. Retrograde won't allow it. It's not the time to do anything like this. So it's a time to pull back. And this will have repercussions on the economy. But will it stay down? My answer to that is no. So as things plummet, it's time to take advantage of this if you're able to. And let me say this too, I haven't talked a lot about this, but another thing that's going to have major effects from this depressed economy is going to be the real estate markets. Watch and see how things are going to change. And by this fall, there's going to be a lot for sale. You'll see. But talking about the other events that are significant around this month. Now, another planet that's retrograde just went retrograde around April 25th was Pluto. So all of this retrograde energy is so intense. And Mars is going to go into Aquarius this month. When it goes into Aquarius around May 4th, you're going to start seeing the surfacing of all the secrets that have been kept by world leaders around the world, because now the secrets are going to be coming out. Between May and June, we have Mars approaching Neptune. Neptune is all the secrets. Mars is the action planet. It's going to make this come out. You'll see how surprising things will surface. But in the advent of where Mars is, being in Aquarius, it's also creating a square to the Sun when it goes into Taurus towards the end of the month, and also to Venus in Taurus. And Mercury will be there. What does that all mean? The world is going to shake. There are going to be more explosive events. And when I shake, I mean literally. So we're looking at a period of earthquakes. And the places that I see the most powerful earth energy or earth changes, such as earthquakes, tsunamis, possible volcanic eruptions, they all come together when people are angry, and people's emotions are on edge this month, surfacing a lot of things, plus the earth shakes. And remember, I did a video on the eclipse path, which some of the places where the eclipse path was most relevant was China, was Japan, and the Middle East. These are the places that are going to be affected the most by this eclipse energy. And especially we have another eclipse coming in June around the 21st. But prior to that, and right after that, we will have the energy of earthquakes. And these places, the Middle East and China and Japan, I feel like will get hit the most with this type of energy, plus the surfacing of so many secrets that have been kept back, especially about this coronavirus. There are many secrets to be uncovered concerning this, and we're going to start getting some answers this month of May and June. So like I've been saying, this domino effect of all these businesses, that one affects another, and the airlines, the restaurants, all of this starts to fall. And these retrograde planets will make us feel depressed. So I've got some remedies for you about this depressed feeling. So when we come up to how and what we can do to help ourselves, I've got some great information for you, so hold in there. But looking at some other aspects, the most important one that I want to make reference to right now is the fact that Rahu has finally left the Nakshatra Ardra. That Nakshatra that deals so much with sadness, tragedy, and tears. This is a monumental year for sadness, and all of us know somebody that's been affected by this horrendous pandemic. And this pandemic, I believe everything happens for a reason. And even this pandemic, whether it was intentional or accidental, there's a reason for it. But looking at when it will come to an end, I've always been saying by the time of September, around September 19th, that will be the time that we will start to see real clarity. Why? Because Ketu is going to leave the destruction nakshatra called Mula. Mula is the nakshatra that deals with destruction the very most. And we still got to September for some other dominoes and effects to happen that will bring more or less some of the reasons why this had to happen. Because destruction clears the air. Destruction brings things out. And once things are destroyed, there can be a new world built. And I want to say this. After all of this is cleared, this will be a better world. And one thing I do want to say is it's going to clear faster than you believe. By February, end of February and March of 2021, we're going to have many things are going to be so much better. And maybe at some point we will understand why this had to happen. But for most part, a lot of things needed to be cleared, and this cleared the air. But once Ketu leaves the nakshatra Mula, I believe that, and this, by the way, is, if you use the true node, September 19th. So September 19th, I think things will be getting back to normal. And I think we're going to have some hope by having cures, by having things set into place where there's not the fear anymore. There's not the destruction anymore. You'll see it's all about to change. And when I talk about the world changing and coming to a better place, I'm foreseeing that by the year of 2022 to 2024, we will see a world that works in harmony. Yes, believe it or not, more harmoniously globally, because I believe the leaders, the troublemaker leaders, which you know what, most of them are, but the ones that have been tampering or playing with nuclear energy, these are the ones that will disappear or be eliminated. Why? Because I believe there are higher forces. I won't say what they are, but higher forces that are changing the world for the better and are really helping humanity to a point where we don't self-destruct and annihilate ourselves. Because at the rate of speed of where we're going right now, we're about to destroy our world. But there are higher powers out there that will prevent this from happening. So you're going to see some of these leaders that are destructive, that play with fire, nuclear energy. These are the ones that will slowly but surely disappear by some means. You'll see what I mean. This is all in the divine plan and what needs to happen. So I'm not going to name any countries or leaders because you'll see. I don't need to. They're going to just be eliminated. So I want you to know this. It's not about politics. It's something much deeper than this. It's about, well, you'll see that whether the leaders are in it for their own good or if they are intentionally causing harm or accidentally, all of these events are building to change the world for a divine purpose. I know this. The astrology is very, very clear. But we are still in the dire workings of this transformational period. Because let me go into what I feel like is happening globally in this world right now. So globally, what's happening is there is a huge crisis of people that are still totally involved in their political game. It's not about this. Watch and see. There are going to be events that it will seem out of our control. And it should be, because all the anger and all of the opinions about politics are actually contributing to the problems. So there's going to be a divinity that comes in. That's why I'm not looking at the political parties or what's going to be happening by the end of this year, because there's going to be a turn of events that will change things. You'll see. So I just want to name off some of the major events that are going to be happening. Now, right now, this month of May, we're in the Kalasarpa Yoga. And the Kalasarpa Yoga will be in effect pretty much till mid-July, unfortunately, because then in June and July, we're also dealing with Mercury retrograde, but it's really going to be the sun that breaks this cycle by mid-July. But what is the Kalasarpa Yoga? It's when all the planets, now every few weeks, the moon will jump in and out of this, but when all the planets are on one side of Rahu and Ketu, this makes a very, very intense period of extremes. But one thing I can promise you is this: we will rise to a much better place than before. So Rahu, here's another biggie, that Rahu between May 14th and June 4th, get this, Mars will go into the nakshatra called Shatabhishak. And at the same time, Rahu is in the nakshatra called Mrigashira. Now, Mrigashira is that nakshatra that deals with searching. And actually, we're going to have Rahu in Mrigashira for quite some time. But Mars will only be in Shatabhishak from March 14th to June 4th. And when this happens, they're in each other's signs of rulership. Mrigashira is ruled by Mars and Shatabhishak is ruled by Rahu. At the same time, Rahu is casting an aspect, a trinal aspect to Mars. This is a huge event. This really deals with Martian warlike energy, which can deal with attacks, which can deal with anger, which can deal with explosive events. And so what do I think also this is about? Well, Marigashira as the searching nakshatra means we will come into cures. We will discover things. And it will be there till February of 2021. And I believe this also deals with amazing discoveries. There are going to be scientific discoveries dealing with energy that will heal not only the coronavirus, but many diseases around the world. You're going to see an enormous, huge change. Now, one thing I see also, Shatabishak. Remember that that's a nakshatra that deals with what? Hard to cure diseases. And I feel like while Rahu and Mars are in these nakshatras that activate each other, major things are going to happen quickly that are going to spur on wonderful discoveries concerning this. So also, I'm looking at May 1st as a time when Mercury will exactly conjunct planet Uranus. Uranus is a planet of flashes of insight, and it deals with electricity and energy. Actually, when it was discovered, what came about? Inventions. But during this time, Mercury, the mind, we're going to come into new inventions, and it's going to be about some amazing healings. As I said, these healings will not be a pill we take or just a vaccination, but we're going to make discoveries about energy and light and how they can cure the body of not just this coronavirus, but so many diseases. This is so exciting. And another thing is, when I see that we're going to have Mars in the nakshatra of Shatabishak, I do think that there's going to be more of this virus in poor countries that can't support themselves. You're going to see that this will be, this virus is not over, and we know that. So you will see a lot this summer, or I'm sorry, in the months of May, June, and July, more difficulty with more death. And this will deal more with the impoverished countries. You'll see this come about. But looking at May 7th, we come to the time of a full moon. And during this time of the full moon, it'll be in Libra. Remember, I'm talking the sidereal zodiac, not tropical western. But this will be a time of political unrest. Libra is the sign of politics and balance. And there's a striving to try to find balance in the midst of all of this change and disruption and anger in politics. So the middle of May, the 11th through 14th, when Saturn is retrograde, remember Saturn's in Capricorn, so is Jupiter. They're together in Capricorn. And this is the sign of government. And there is a complete, nothing will ever be the same again, a complete transformational change in how the governments are run and what is happening globally. This is not just one country's problem. We are global now. We have to come together. As I said before, there will be events this year that forces us to come together and work together. That's one of the main reasons this is all occurring. We can't be separate anymore. It is a force and it's a problem that we all have to deal with and work together to cure. So Capricorn as in, well, with government, but Venus being retrograde in Taurus, this deals specifically with what? Money and government. This is the great healing. These planets are retrograde. This is going to change the economy and the world forever in the future, but for the better. It will be better eventually. As a matter of fact, I see such a splendid, prosperous time that will occur by the time of February and March. in 2001. But remember, this whole thing is transforming to the years of 2022 to 2024. The world will be a better place because of what's happened now. So then I'm looking at, May 13th, when Venus goes retrograde in Taurus. Remember this. This can bring back old relationships, old feeling of love, old flames. But normally it's bringing it back to heal things. And many times, let me just warn you, it may not work out. Because when Venus goes direct again, it changes that energy again. So you're going to see how relationships and old feelings, love, just reminiscent times of love and romance will come back. And this will help you deal with your issues of what? Relationships. So then I'm looking at May 20th, a time when Venus will be squaring Neptune. If you're not honest and clear, totally transparent in your relationships, there will be problems. And this is what can dissolve a relationship as well as bringing it together. So this is a time that we're learning to work together, not only as a world or with friends or how we communicate, but with our family and particularly our life partners, our partners that we share our life together with. Now, the new moon will occur on May 22nd in Taurus. Therefore, it's going to be with Mercury and Venus. And this can be a great thing because this can really help you get back into your creative mode. It's a good time to start creative projects. Anything that you've been wanting to work on, develop it. It's a time to internalize, to work on ourselves, to not externalize and worry so much about the world. As around May 28th, when Mercury conjoins Rahu, yes, we may be obsessed about problems and worries in the world. And that's where I want to give you what I feel is the best solution, what we can be doing for ourselves during this time. And the best thing that we can hope, that we can really work on is what? Having hope for the future. Hope for the future gives us a feeling of calm and peace. And also focus on solutions. The worst thing that we can be doing right now is focusing in on the problem. Don't focus on what's wrong. Look for what you can do to solve these problems. If there's financial problems, there's things you can do. Don't sit around and worry about the loss. The people that look back and worry about the losses never get anywhere. What do I call them? Victims. Because they blame everything for their circumstance. The circumstance is happening for a divine reason to get you to break out and look at things from a different perspective, find your solution. But most of all, when you're depressed and you feel like the world is against you and this whole problem is destroying you and you get depressed, what do? Look to the future. This is one thing I love about being an astrologer and how I feel like I help more people than anything else is by giving people a time to look forward to. When will this be over? And when you know when it's going to be over, then you can get through it. You know where the finish line is, where things are going to feel better. But let me give you a story about hope that really inspired me and helped me realize what this process of looking forward to and planning, making plans for when things are better. This is what we must do. So when we know that this virus is going to be over, what are you going to do? I want you to focus on that, because when we focus on the future, it gets us through these times. So in other words, if we're looking at September, what are you going to be doing when this is all over? What are you going to do different to solve it, to get there? So here's from a story that I wanted to that really moved me, that I felt was significant. And this story I wrote about in my book called Awaken to the Power Within You. Now, it is only available as a Kindle book, but it's on Amazon. Check it out. But I wrote about the times when we get down and depressed and how to focus in on the future. So this story, I talk about, there was a couple who sold their house to go sail the Pacific, sail around the world, and they sold their house for a sailboat. But while they were in the middle of the Pacific, a whale flopped over on their sailboat, broke it in half, and they had to hurry up and get on their lifeboat and bring as many supplies as they could to survive until they had someone come and save them. Little did they know, though, they were going to be on that little raft for 4.5 months. They thought that they'd be saved right away. No way. And how did they survive? Well, one thing that the wife said that she did that really helped more than anything was she brought her journal. And what did she do? She wrote in that journal every day about what she was going to do once they were saved. She even put in that journal what she was going to eat, what her first meal was. And she made plans of what their new sailboat was going to look like. Amidst all of the problems, during this time, 4.5 months, to survive, they had to catch birds and fish to eat them just to survive. And when they got really down, the thing they did was one of them had to be strong and bring the depressed one up. So at no time could both of them be depressed, but they did alternate in lifting each other's spirits. So the other aspect, besides making the plans, journaling, looking forward, you've got to support each other. Because if we don't have the support of other people, it's really tough to be positive. And so that's what they did. She made specific plans of what she was going to do once they were saved. She said that got them through it. And it did. So you can do this now. Journal, make the plans of what you're going to do once you're through all this. And, another thing is to make a collage. Put pictures from magazines, all the things that you're going to acquire and you're going to have and see once you're through this difficult time. So plan for the future. Look ahead when things will be better. This is going to save us. This is going to bring the prosperities, because what we focus in on is what we actually do create in our lives. So what's out there is really a mirror of what's in here. So if you're focusing and planning for such a great future, you're going to have it. And look at when this is going to be over, because the finish line is not that far off. I do predict that we're going to be getting out of this by September. By this time next year, the world's going to be a better place. We're going to get there. The astrology is real. It's going to help us realize and get to our desired goal. So please support each other. Get through this time, because it's serving a divine purpose to make the world a much better place. It's bringing up all of the corruption, all of the destruction, all of the bad and the evil that has been tormenting and destroying our world. We were on a path of annihilation of this world, and now things are going to wake up, and the world is going to be a much more beautiful place for us and our children. Know that. Breathe it in. And you're going to see. We'll be over this soon, all together. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me, like a consultation, or sign up for my free newsletter, go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Or if you would like to study Vedic astrology with me, I have a fantastic online university. Come join our community. Go to the website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.